YouTube. So if you can hear me, let me know. My my luck is I'm going to do this whole live on this topic. That's a very important topic, and then I'm going to try to listen to it after, and it's going to have no sound because that has happened to me maybe one time before. So I'm hoping you guys can hear me. Otherwise, I will record this again, and then I will just like record and upload. So I cannot wait to get my hair done, but I digress. So I am Atia Brown. I am the Savvy Accountant, and I'm a CPA. I'm licensed in both Canada and in the US because I am from Canada originally, but I live in the US now. And I basically have a goal to save my community $1 billion in tax savings. And I want to do that by educating you guys on taxes and letting you guys know what taxes are. And I'm an extrovert, so I do like going live and I like the whole social media thing. And so, welcome to my first live on YouTube. And I don't want to be a liar because I may have gone live before, but I don't remember. So, this is my first live that I can remember. Anyways, I said that I'm going to be coming on YouTube a lot more. And so, today I wanted to talk about red flags when it comes to your tax preparer. So tax season is upon us, and that is the time that a lot of these tax preparers just pop up. They pop up, they do your taxes, then you can't hear from them again. And somebody actually popped into my inbox to ask me a question, and because they were dealing with one of those pop-up tax preparers, and so that made me come up with my topic for today. So this literally just happened yesterday. And so it's very new. And, unfortunately, they might be finding out the hard way of what's going to happen to them. So I wanted to talk about some red flags when it comes to your tax preparer. And so this list is not in any particular order. I might think of things as I'm talking because that's what I do, right? But the first thing I'm going to tell you is if you hire someone to prepare your taxes, they are required to have what's called a PTIN. And so basically that tells the government that this person was prepared to prepare your taxes. They have to have that. Otherwise, they can't do it. So if they don't want to give you their PTIN, let you know that they have their PTIN, that's a red flag. And that goes with this next red flag, which I think is the biggest red flag of all, is if they prepare your taxes, you've paid them to prepare your taxes and they don't sign it. So if you look at the bottom of your 1040, there is a space for your preparer to sign and for you to sign, because I want you to understand that you are on the hook just as much as them. So many times people are like, oh, they put that on my return. I don't know what it was. Did you sign it? Because you're supposed to review it before you sign it. And that is basically saying both of you know what's on this return and you are filing the return with this information. So you need to sign, but you also need to make sure that they're signing. So the biggest red flag I see so many people not paying attention to is that they don't sign it. They prepare the return, send it to you, and then you're signing it as if you prepared it as a self-preparer. That's like red flag number one. Well, I don't even know if I'm going to number these because they're all red flags. So I want to make sure that you understand that these are red flags. There's no order. One is not better than the other. If these are happening, this is a red flag. And if one of these happen, you probably need to find someone else. So not signing the return is like a big no-no. And I see it so often, and I don't know why you pay someone and then you sign the return as if you're saying that you prepared it. The second thing that I want to talk about is, because it's tax season, we understand that this season comes every year. Those pop-up tax preparers, they just come up during tax season. They don't do anything, like they have no tax discussions happening throughout the year. They are doing whatever they're doing throughout the year, but come February, March, they are the tax person that they want you to refer to your cousins, to your aunts, to your mom. They tell you that they are here for tax season, but they only pop up during tax season. You cannot hear from them at any other time besides tax season. That's a red flag for me because, I do all things tax throughout the year. The professionals that I associate with, they do tax throughout the year. And yes, we are busy right now because it's tax season, but you can file your taxes at any point throughout the year. There's going to be penalties and stuff if you didn't file it on time and all that good stuff, but it's not something that I just can shut down. I just pop up. And when I say pop up, I mean, these people are popping up at different spaces every tax year. You cannot find them. Their numbers are changing. You want to be aware of that. Okay. So that's a red flag. Another red flag is, oh my God, these outlandish promises. So anytime I hear, I can get you the max, 7,800, 3K, whatever the promise is, if it sounds ridiculous, it's because it is ridiculous. There is no way I can tell you that your refund is going to be X amount, that I'm going to get you these credits if I don't know your situation. Like literally, the tax code is not written to say, if you have 2 kids, you're getting $5,000 and that's the answer. No, every single source of your income is going to dictate what your refund, if you get a refund, what that's going to look like. So all of these outlandish promises, that's a red flag that I want you guys to consider. How can they even say that if they don't know your tax situation? Like, how can they tell you what your outcome is going to be without putting your numbers in, without figuring out what your situation is? So those outlandish promises that they are giving, that they're putting on their flyers, like, I don't understand how they can say that. There are no guarantees. Like, we can't even give guarantees because there's no way I can tell you that this is for sure going to happen with your situation. Even though I am a CPA, I am licensed. I've had my license since 2008. This is me looking at my degree. I cannot tell you when we work on this, like even when we're solving your tax issues and we're putting an offer in, there's no way I can guarantee and tell you that they're going to accept this. I can tell you the probability. I can tell you the chances are very high or the chances are very low, because sometimes the client wants something that is not feasible. And I tell them the chances of that getting accepted is going to be very low. I can tell you, probabilities based on my experience. Out of these many clients, as so many people have done that, that is probability. That is not me telling you this is for sure going to happen. I think I'm Caribbean, and my family always has sayings. And my mom used to say, there's only 2 things that are for sure, and I'm going to stay Black and die. And then I heard somebody add pay taxes, stay Black and die. Those are like the only 3 certainties that you are going to have in life. And so anything other than that is outlandish promises, and those are red flags. The next thing I have on my list, and I might do a part 2 because this list is like growing every time I see these tax preparers who are just giving my industry a bad name. So the next thing on my list is no documentation. So if they tell you that they can prepare your taxes with your last W-2 or your last pay stub, not W-2, you get one W-2, your last pay stub, they tell you, I can prepare your taxes with your last pay stub, that's a red flag. There is so much more information that you are going to need to prepare your taxes, and your last pay stub is not going to be everything that you need. So them not asking for documentation in order to prepare your tax return, to me, that's a red flag. Because again, how can I tell you anything about your situation without getting your information and making intelligent hypothesis, whatever the word is, but I need your information. So if I am not collecting any documents from you, any tax information, any having you fill out a questionnaire, how can I finish your tax return and make it be a valid tax return? So that's going to be a red flag. If they're not requesting documentation from you, that's a red flag. The next thing, I think this one is kind of an obvious red flag, but a lot of times people, they want these get rich quick schemes. And so what they do is, the next red flag is fake numbers. If your tax preparer is telling you, oh, I'm going to put this business on your return, and you know that you have no business, I mean, I don't see why that's not a red flag, but I'm going to mention it because that should be mentioned, because that's a red flag. So fake numbers, fake businesses, anything that does not go with your situation should not be on your tax return. Again, that goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video. You are signing off on this return. So many times I have people come, because we are savvy at solving your tax issues, right? They come and they're like, they put this on my return, and I'm always like, stop. What? There's no judgment. I tell people, I'm like your tax big sis, because I am an older sister in real life. So I take that role very seriously. And so there's no judgment when it comes to your tax issues. And I say this is all seriousness. There's no judgment, because I know that taxes give people anxiety. People are nervous when it comes to taxes, so they put it off. And that kind of makes your situation worse. So there's not going to be judgment on how we got here. We're going to try to fix your situation. But what I'm not going to do, and what I'm not going to want you to do, is trying to blame someone when it's a situation that you got into because I wanted them to prepare my taxes because I heard that they got my neighbor $5,000 more. You kind of knew you were getting into something that you probably shouldn't have been getting into. And so those fake numbers, that fake information, you want to make sure that you are aware that that's a red flag. I want you to know that that's a red flag, even though I feel like you should know that that's a red flag, but that's a red flag. And the last thing I have on my list for today is, and I can't believe that this happens, they are taking, so when they prepare your return and the banking information is on there, the banking information is their banking information because they tell you that they are going to collect the refund on your behalf and then they are going to pay you the rest. I don't even know why I have to say this, but that's a red flag. Like, what? I have clients, I'm telling you, there's so much we can do to help you. And I'm talking about me as Atia, when I'm working with clients, we can hold your hand, but there is a point where you are going to have to take responsibility. And so we prepare your return, we go through the return with you, we sign it, you sign it, we're all good. When it comes to making the payment, I want you to take responsibility and say, you need to make that payment. Yes, there are ways that your tax professional can make the payment for you, but we have so many instances where people are getting their money stolen. They don't know what's going on with their money, and you can take responsibility for actually being the one that has to pay. I definitely understand that, there are celebrities that they have people that handle their money, but they're also the ones that have all of these situations where I didn't know where my money was going. I didn't know who was paying what and all that good stuff. So it's okay. And what I tell people all the time is when you're looking for a tax professional, you have to know the questions to ask them, and you are interviewing them just as much as they want you to be their client. So you want to make sure that they can talk to you in a way that you understand. I tell people all the time, I love what I do. I think I'm really good at taxes. I think I'm really good at saving my clients money. We've saved them almost $8 million so far. We have a goal of $1 billion by 2050. And so this is my goal. But I tell people all the time, I know that taxes are complicated. Taxes can be confusing to a lot of people. But what this is not, it's not brain surgery. I'm not operating and it's life or death. So your situation should be able to be explained to you in a way that you understand. And if the person that's working with you tells you stuff like, oh, no, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. No. Every single thing that's going on should be able to be explained to you. Even if you don't understand the tax code, I should be able to break it down so that you can understand. So if they talk to you as if they're doing something that's way beyond your understanding and you don't understand it, and that's not something that should give you comfort. They should be able to explain it. So even if you're doing these complicated transactions, a merger acquisition, foreign transactions, 1031 exchanges, what property, all of these things can be complicated, but it's something that I should be able to explain to you, break it down to you, let you know what these numbers actually mean. So make sure that they're able to explain things to you the way that you understand it so that you can understand what's going on in your situation. The second thing is, don't be afraid to be like, how long have you been doing this? Are you, I just feel like I touched the mic, so I don't know if that does something, but sorry if it does. Don't be afraid to ask them how long they've been doing this. Are they familiar with your situation? Are they going to be able to help you with this situation? Don't be afraid to do that. I literally had a lady in a group that I'm in. She reached out to me yesterday and she was like, I want to talk to you about my tax situation. We talked about it. And granted, I was like, I really don't think you have a complicated situation. She has one W-2. She is single. She did just buy a house. So she thought that would complicate everything in her situation. So it's the first time that she would have her house on her tax return. And I just walked her through it. And she was like, nobody ever told me that. Everybody just basically, she's like, because she's like, I see the fees and I don't know if I want to pay those fees, if I don't know if I'm getting a refund. And I was like, yeah, I agree. Your situation is very simple. It might be complicated for you, but once I broke down to her what itemized deductions are, and she had never heard of that before or thought through that because she always just had her W-2 and she just did a simple return. Yeah, I was like, your situation is fairly simple and I don't know if you want to pay the fee. And she was like, I don't know if I want to pay the fee. And I agreed with her. I'm not going to just take people's money just because it's there. That's just not how I operate. I know Some people might operate like that, but don't be afraid to ask questions to figure out, first of all, if you even need them to prepare your taxes, because you might be able to do it on your own. So some things I want you to go into this looking for a tax preparer. Look for a professional, okay? You can have a tax preparer and you can have a tax professional, and they are not the same thing. Once you figure out all these red flags are what preparers are doing. They just show up, they tell you that they can prepare your tax return, and hence the red flag list. Tax professional is going to be someone who is going to be available for your questions, and not just available for your questions like when you have a question. They are knowledgeable in what they are doing. And so that's what makes them the professional. I don't like to get into how long have you been doing this, and that is going to be a qualifier, because sometimes people are coming from a corporate job to their own business. They might not have been doing taxes on the side for a long time, but that doesn't mean that their experience isn't there. So I don't like to qualify with the years. But this is what I wanted to jump on today and talk about, because I just couldn't believe what was going on in my inbox with that person telling me that they were dealing with a ghost preparer. That's what we call them in the industry. A ghost preparer, someone who does the return but does not sign it. So it looks like you did it yourself, but you know that you paid someone. So it seems like you're working with a ghost. So those are the red flags that I have. And if I come up with more, I will jump on and talk about them. But let me know if you have any questions as I, get back to these returns. But yeah, I had a good time, and I shall talk to you guys later. So Atia Brown, the Savvy Accountant. And let me know if you guys have any questions, any topics you want me to cover, because I am liking this YouTube world, and I don't know how it works. I don't know if people are chatting. I don't know all that stuff yet, but I will get to know it. All right. Take care. Bye.